Welcome back to Signals on 91.3. Well, we're discussing early childhood education, and I have with me a business strategy and operations professional with over 16 years of experience in investment banking, management consulting, early education, and fintech industries. She's the general manager of Solo Funds Incorporated, a community finance peer-to-peer marketplace lending platform. Well, she has worked with over 35 businesses in SSA, which she's going to tell me about, generating over 11 million in annual revenues and creating over 450 jobs opportunities. She's passionate about financial literacy, women empowerment, early education, and economic development initiatives that create job opportunities and promote SME businesses. She's also the founder of Revel, and is a learning financial literacy platform and a board director at Learning Gate Nursery and Primary and Secondary Schools. She has regional and international experience in setting up, launching, and operating businesses across Africa, specifically the fintech space. She's an expert in developing tech-enabled solutions to solve business problems and providing advisory support to help entrepreneurs scale. I have with me Lordy Lord. I'm coming. I have with me Ronke, and I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Aha! It's not easy, but we are back. Well, I have with me Ronke Adepoju, and we're discussing early childhood education. Welcome back to Signals on 91.3.
Thank you so much for having me back. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, so still in the International Women's Month.
Yeah.
Right. We had some conversations earlier on that day, March 8th. I was fulfilled. I had two gorgeous women and we're discussing women, finances, education, motherhood. But today we're discussing early childhood education. And tell me, why are you so interested in early childhood education?
Well, it's the foundation, right? We always say things like children are the future, we need to build our leaders up. So if we don't get the foundation right, if we don't get the early childhood years right,
Yeah.
you are essentially building on something that's not a solid foundation, right? Because what's the point of having all this, tertiary vocational skills if someone can't read and write, if someone can't solve problems, they can't be analytical, they don't have the basic tools that they need to actually, have something more advanced.
Okay. If it's so critical, if it's so critical, when should and this has been a challenge for me when I say at what age should a child start school?
All right, so there's been a lot of debate about this, but we have, for example, at Learning Gate, we have kindergarten,
Okay.
right? So there's kindergarten 1, kindergarten 2. Then we have nursery 1 and nursery 2 before you now go into primary. So we actually also have the daycare. And of course, the daycare depends on when the mother feels comfortable or when she's able to, get back to work. So you can start when you want. There's no like, oh, you can't start because your child is too young. You can start when you want. And when they start going out there, even from daycare, they start picking things up, they start learning. Children are like sponges, right? They just see everything, they want to emulate you, they want to copy, they want to learn. So you can start learning as early as 6 months, right? Yeah.
So
Look,
some mothers will say, I want to do
you can. It's your choice, but I was
express. Yeah, that's what they call it.
they want to express. That doesn't.
No,
It's
that
not
one is not even express. They want to do full breastfeeding for 1 year.
Okay, do that. That doesn't mean the child can't be learning while you're feeding the child. Like, those are not mutually exclusive
Okay.
things. So you can express, keep it in a bottle, drop the child off at daycare, come back, or there's so many ways. I've seen a lot of women make it work, right? They only get like 3 months, some 4 months for maternity leave. So it's not something that we've not
It's
seen.
not cast in stone.
Yeah, it's not cast in stone, essentially.
You so I'm humming because there is that for some mothers,
Mm-hmm.
not all of them, for some mothers they're so attached and they don't want the kids to go and learn because why are you rushing? Yeah, and we have a culture where I'm trying to speak Yoruba and translate it in English.
You can say it to your but
Kilo and shape. You know how we are very
Mm-hmm.
very subtly judgmental that we are going to drop the child in school.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so there
So
is
for
that.
other mothers
Mm-hmm.
who can know that it's okay.
It's okay, yeah.
It's okay to drop the child. The child has started his life already, so you can work.
So
I'm sure you've had experiences where people
have.
don't want to drop.
We've had experiences where they want us to attach a CCTV camera in the daycare so that they can watch the child. They can just go on their phones.
It's not easy.
Yeah, and we understand, right? We know it's not easy just kind of dropping your child off with someone else at that early stage. But that's why you have to pick a daycare that you trust, right? You can't just drop your child off anywhere. And that attachment thing, the child is okay. Let's be honest, it's on you. You are the one that is attached. As long as that baby is fed, dry, and
Neat.
warm, they're good. You are the one that is having the
Guilt, the
the
mother
one that
guilt.
is having that attachment issue. So you're the one that has to work on it. I remember my sister was telling me the first day she dropped off my nephew at school.
Yeah.
She was standing there with tears in her eye. Bye. The boy just walked.
Voice.
He didn't look back. He didn't, he just marched right in and, so happy to, go to school because he was so excited to finally meet friends, meet other kids, play.
Overly pampered.
Yeah, because he only child. So you can imagine he's like,
He's
you know what, mom, I'm gonna see you later. So that's how most children are. They're just excited and happy to get out of the house. So yeah.
Okay, so we can come on, we're going out this. Now, how does early childhood education differ from the traditional primary school?
So for me, I mean, early childhood is not just the pre-primary, right? I'm also looking at primary. I'm also looking at secondary. So like our school, we do everything from pre-primary to senior secondary. And, some might say, oh, early childhood is just the daycare crash, but we actually see it as
Long-term.
longer than that, all the way to senior secondary. So that's where it stops. So, sorry, what was
How does it differ?
how does it differ
Is it
from?
different from the traditional primary school?
Well, it is, like I said, primary school is what we still classify as early
okay,
education.
so it's not different.
So it's not different. It's still the same thing. It's just the early years. It's just like I said before, it's the foundational years. It's the years where you can teach children a lot. In fact, I tell parents, if you want your child to learn how to swim or learn how to play a sport or learn a different language, those are the years that you want to start introducing
Those things.
to the child, because it's easily assimilated, as opposed to maybe
Adulting.
and then there's now all these other things in their mind, and then it's just harder for them to start picking up like all these other skills like swimming, sports, and language. So yeah, for us, we try to give our kids, our students, a very comprehensive curriculum, not just in class but out of class, right? We try to introduce them to a lot of club activities. So we have the chess club, the debates club, the jets club. We have agriculture, we have the environment club. So there's so many clubs for them to express themselves and actually find what their passions are and interests, because they're in the exploratory stage at that point. So let them explore, let them learn, let them know what their likes are, let them know who they are, their identity, right? And that's the only way that's the best way we feel like we can do that.
Now, is early childhood education really working in Nigeria? Because you talked about introducing them to different clubs, swimming, and there was a video I watched about a man who threw his baby in the swimming pool. I saw that video. The Nigerian comment section was like, "Never, it's not possible."
So I don't want someone to come and say, "Oh my gosh, the children will learn." They will learn.
Okay.
He has actually he was standing there,
He
right?
was standing
He was
there.
standing
He was
there,
standing there. He
and
was-
he threw
The
so
child. It was a baby. It was.
like I
So
said,
the comment section was like 9 months. You're not innocent.
so we are partnered with a swimming school, and they have my mother and I swimming classes.
Okay.
So it starts from 6 months. Yeah,
Six.
6 months. Yeah. So at 6 months, and the mother will enter the child, or the father, whoever the parent is that goes with the child, will go to the swimming class with the child, right?
Okay.
What you're doing is you're removing that fear of water
From them.
And by the way, didn't we all swim in the womb? Let's
See, Rocky had to start at that table.
so
Okay.
so that's, you've heard of water birth, right?
Yes.
Why isn't anyone shouting about that?
It's sometimes, and this is very important that we're having this conversation about the. I don't want. It's not trauma, but that bond of not letting a child go because you are scared to allow them to grow.
Okay, so
You understand what I mean?
Yes. I've seen cases where parents are very protective, very overly protective, overly controlling.
Yes.
I've not seen it turn out well for the parents. And the reason I say this is because one day
the child will leave.
And even in your house, right? The child is already
Leaving.
So you can't watch this child 24/7. So if they're not able to come to you with things, like they're not able to talk to you about things, they will talk to somebody else. And the information that they're getting from that someone else is not the information you want them to have, right? So let's talk about the big one, sex education, right? If you don't talk to your child about sex education, they will learn sex education from somewhere else. And then you now start having parents say, where did you get this from? From outside. Because they didn't get it from inside. And that's why we talk about a lot of things with our kids. And yes, we have to get permission from the parents for some of them, because they're very, some of them are sensitive conversations. But I always implore the parents, allow us to give them the facts, and then
let them
decide. And we're here to guide them. So it's not like, oh, this 13-year-old is deciding for themselves. No. We're shaping them. That's why our slogan is shaping outstanding futures. So we're there to guide them. We're there to, in case they fall or take the wrong turn, we're there to correct them. But if you just allow them to go online, you see, the generation we grew up in,
different,
and the generation this generation is growing up, are completely different. If your mother didn't tell you something, there's no other way to know, right? You either go to your auntie or go to your grandma, and they kind of all will say the same thing. But now,
by the time they check Google,
they just Google something, there's like a million results. And online is not, exactly, it's not 100% accurate. So they're taking in correct and incorrect information, and then their mind is now forming based on that. And anything that happens.
So how does, because this conversation we're having is ensuring that we're shaping the social and emotional intelligence. Now, there's something that, and this, we need to have this conversation. And I'm sure that you've also seen it. Bullying in school. My 8-year-old nephew told his mom to call me 2 days ago. And he was so excited to tell me that I fought back. So he's been bullied. He's very quiet. Very quiet. And then one day the mother called me around 12 noon in the middle of the night. And the boy said to me that they're always fighting in school. So I told him, next time, stand. Do not run. Fight for yourself. So I think an incident happened some days back. They almost broke his leg. And so the boy remembered that I said, fight back. Stand and fight back. And then he said he beat everybody. I said,
I don't think that's what I meant. I don't think that's what Auntie meant.
So when he said it, I said, okay, Oshodi, I think you need to rework this conversation. Right? I said, okay, so if anybody doesn't respect you, the person has no right to be your friend. I said, you know what respect? He said, yes. So he said they're teaching them in school. Now and that's one case.
Yes.
Now please help me.
So unfortunately, bullying happens
Across board.
It's not a Nigerian specific problem or an Africa. So it's a global problem, right? It's just unfortunately it's just human nature at that age. So what are schools, or what, like for example, what are we doing in our school to combat bullying? It's first, once we identify someone has a sort of aggressive behavior, or we're looking for those aggressive behaviors or telltale signs of bullying, right? We immediately like try to tackle that on an individual case, because first of all, you'll find out that there's a problem probably from the home.
But some people say that sometimes problem is not from the home.
It's from somewhere.
Okay.
The reason why we say home is because at that
That's where
age,
we're coming from.
where else can it come
Yeah.
from, right? You know, it could be from the school, but most likely it's from the, especially if you're like in primary school, there's no boarding house,
No.
right? So it's most likely from somewhere that is not school.
Yes.
So we need to identify that, and then we do like I mentioned earlier, we have all these clubs, but we also have sessions where we talk to them about integrity, respect, treating others well, being kind. Like we actually talk to them about this, teaching them these soft skills or soft qualities or characteristics that you should you should have and you should exhibit as a human being.
I like that.
As a
Human
human
being.
humane behavior, you know, because even in school, how you know, as much
Some
as we
of
like
us were
to,
bullied.
yeah, as much as we like to say, oh, we have the best teachers and all that, we can't watch every student 24/7. I think we all know that it's not possible. They will go to the playground. They will be in the staircase.
They'll go to the toilet.
They'll go to the toilet. So are we supposed to put CCTV cameras in the toilet?
It's looking like that.
You know, because we can't. It's not possible unless we start. You know, I don't know how we're gonna do. Put trackers on the kids.
No, but
So
they will outsmart the
we
trackers.
need, exactly. We need to actually get them to be our eyes and ears. So we actually have students. We have to really have talks where we say, if you see this behavior,
Speak.
call it out. Even because they don't want to snitch, right? Because
Yes.
that's
An
another
African
thing. It's everybody, black people probably
They don't
everywhere.
want to
Everybody
snitch.
wants to be the snitch, because you will come back to the class and everybody will look at you like, that's the one that went to tell teacher. So how about, if you don't want to report, how about you stand up against it? And once you stand up, the thing about standing up is, once one person does it, every other person does it, and it now becomes, you are now not just attacking one person, you're attacking all of us, and that is more powerful than a teacher coming in and saying, stop that, and then going back to marking her papers or doing whatever it was we're doing. So now this bully knows, I can't touch this one person, because if I touch this one person, I have to. We also implement things like buddy system, right? So if we have a new kid, maybe a transfer in that comes in, we'll give you know, attach them to a buddy. A buddy is essentially
a new friend. That will introduce you around.
Tell you, you know, what cool toys and games and social clubs to attend. You know, just someone that. So if you're with your buddy and someone is trying to pick on you, the buddies, they would say, no, we don't do that. We even have, you know, talks where we say zero tolerance for this. So we hear them saying it. They may not even understand,
but they would remember as they grow.
Yeah, they may not understand.
Zero tolerance for bullying. Zero tolerance for disrespect.
In this school, oh, we don't do that. I heard a student tell us, oh, this school, we don't do that. We don't do that. We don't do this. And we were so happy, because we're not really sure the kid really understood.
They do, for some reason.
Yeah, but
do.
They've seen, and they're able to do that because they've seen us exhibit it too. Like, imagine me shouting on my principal, Mr. Principal, are you stupid? Then I now turn around and start teaching the kids about respect and professionalism.
When they have not seen you exhibit it.
And then they'll now be like, there's a disconnect between
what you
my
do and what you say,
behavior and what I'm telling them to do. So they see already the way I treat the staff, even the support
cleaners.
staff, the cleaners, the security guard, the drivers. They see how I address them. Oh, Mr. Ahmed, Please, can you check the bus to make sure? Thank you
please,
very much.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm very sorry. You have to. They see that. They're watching you. They're watching.
Even when the supporter want to run you, you just have to smile.
You
have to put it together
and say, I'm being watched all the time. Yeah. I there's some things that in my mind I want to do, but I cannot do it because I know that I'm being. When you don't even, you think nobody can see you.
They're watching.
They're watching you.
They're watching.
They're watching you. So that's why they say live by example. It's not just the saying. You actually have to, especially when you're in that educational field, right? And actually, even for those not in the education, as long as you're holding a sort of leadership role, right? You're being watched.
Uneasy lies the head away.
It does. It's very uneasy.
It's very extra. It signals on 91.3. We're discussing early childhood education with Aderonke Adepoju. She's the director at the Learning. I don't know what's going on this morning.
Learning Gate Schools.
Now, if you have a question, comment 0809-234-5913. If you're about to enroll your child to school, please call us. If you have questions, call and send us a WhatsApp message 0809-234-5913. Now, with still on education and still speaking on soft skills and the curriculum, how do we? So some months back, I was speaking about education, and I was so worried about the public school and how there's so many in class, and how would they learn? How would they balance? Because there's almost a disconnect between private and public.
There is.
The disparity is so much, and I look at it that these children would mix one day or another. How then are we able to sort of strike a balance? Because the class size, how many children are in school?
That is a very
heavy
and loaded question.
Yes.
And I need to give some numbers here.
Go ahead.
So let's start with, we have over 18 million out
When
of
I saw you
school.
posted that thing, I said I was coming for you.
Okay, so we have that number already.
18 million out of
18
school.
million out of school children in Nigeria currently. This is according to the UNESCO. So we already have kids that are not in school. Then we now have the ones that are in public school, and then we now have the ones in private school. So in Nigeria, 20%, about 20% are in private schools, while 80% are in public schools, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So, if we look at the numbers, I don't want to throw too many numbers, but
No, but let's have those
so
data.
enrollment numbers as at last time that was counted, maybe a year or two ago, 55 million children are enrolled in pre-primary to senior secondary. 80% are in public schools. So 80% of that 55 million are in public schools. Now, what is the quality of education that they're getting in public schools? It needs improvement, and that's saying it
Mildly.
delicately. It needs improvement. Someone sent me a video. I sent someone a video of our career day. So we had a career day at school, and we got to a point where we would ask the kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we're hearing doctor, lawyer, this, that, and then one young lady said clinical psychologist.
Okay.
And everyone paused.
Hmm.
And we're like, oh, wow, how did you come up with that? And she was like, well, I wanted to do something medical related, but I don't like blood. So I looked at it, and then I watched the show. And then that show, this lady, I think it was something crime fighting. And then I looked it up, and then and that story, long and short, she ended up with clinical psychologist. I was so impressed. I was so proud.
You were proud?
I was so filled with joy because it wasn't us. It was not the teacher. It was not me. This child came up with
That's
on,
what I'm thinking about.
yeah, on her own, right? I don't even think I knew what clinical psychology was at her age, right?
Everybody knew what they wanted. Even me, they don't know what I
I
wanted
didn't know
to
what I wanted
be.
to be. So